Hey folks, Andrew here, and I am with Steve Watts, the writer of the review for Mario Kart 8. Steve, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good, Andrew.
I just want to start off with your overall impression of Mario Kart 8.
It was a really, really solid Mario Kart game. The thing that stood out to me the most is that it feels right. It's sort of a nebulous thing to say, but as somebody who sort of cut my teeth on Mario Kart 64, there was a very specific point that I remember that it clicked. I found the right kart combination and the right racer, that it all just clicked into place, and I was like, this feels exactly like playing Mario Kart 64, and that was really exciting for me.
Good, good. And it's been a week since you reviewed the game. What are your opinions about the game now? Has it changed? Are you still strong with the score that you gave it? Do you want to? Would you change it now?
Oh
What are
no,
your
definitely
feelings?
not. I think the score reflected that it's a really solid Mario Kart game. It's one of the best. I called it the best since Double Dash, and I think that stands up. I think Double Dash tried some more daring things, but it didn't have the same feel as Mario Kart 64 that I liked. So I think they're probably about on even ground, but I still think that makes it a very strong game in the Mario Kart sort of canon. So yeah, I think it's definitely one of the strongest we've seen in a long time.
Okay. And I have to ask, what's your favorite part about Mario Kart, and what's your least favorite part about the new Mario Kart?
My favorite part by far is the track design. I alluded to this in the review. Some of these tracks are just instant classics, and you could even tell when I played online with other reviewers that they felt the same thing. That word had sort of already gotten around, because when choices came up, they would always gravitate towards the ones that I already thought was like, oh, this is one of the really amazing ones. Uh, a couple examples real quick. The new Mount Wario. I like when Mario Kart sort of breaks from the mold of the three laps and you're done way they usually do things. Mount Wario is basically a downhill skiing competition. You you base jump out of a plane onto a snowy track, and you're sort of going downhill the entire time. And at the end, it's like when you see an Olympic skiing competition end, they sort of slide to a stop and wave to the fans. And I thought that was a really cute and clever hook for a track, and also sort of broke the mold. It doesn't make as much use of the anti-gravity stuff, though, and I would say the best use of anti-gravity is the Rainbow Road, because they always introduce a new Rainbow Road, obviously. This one really makes use of having the track sort of curve and waver in strange ways that you can't always see what's around the next bend and prepare for it. So you really have to either know the track or be very flexible with how you're racing to know how to deal with what's coming. My least favorite part.
So what is your least favorite part?
Yes. Least favorite. The battle mode is just sort of a waste, which is kind of a shame. It was never one of the modes that I played most often in other Mario Karts, but it's really just basically the tracks. They didn't build special arenas for the battle mode. It's just the tracks themselves. And since the arenas were sort of built on small, fairly circular spaces, it sort of encouraged you to be kind of turning constantly and running into people, going towards people. In battle mode in this, since they're just the tracks, there's really not that natural flow, and people might be all going the same direction. People might be separated by a mile in game space, and so there's not the head-on-head collisions that make battle mode work, and so it's just kind of pointless to even have that mode in there if they're not going to do it right.
That's a little disappointing. Here is a question from Chatty. Is it possible to play through an entire cup in a local co-op mode? Do you know if that's possible?
It is. I haven't actually tried the local co-op myself, but I saw this question in Chatty, and I looked through the menus, and when I selected local co-op, I did see a Grand Prix option. So I assume that means that you can race through the entire Grand Prix, because otherwise you'd just be selecting the versus option if you're just doing a single race at a time.
And for my last question, do you have any tips for players, both new players coming to the series and older players coming back to playing Mario Kart?
I put up a play primer that readers can check out for more detailed tips. I think the most important thing for long-term players to realize is that you can't stack items the way that you used to be able to. Instead of being able to just drag a banana behind you and then you pick up another item box that might give you another banana, for example, if you're dragging a banana behind you, that's still filling your item box. You can't grab another item. So that really affects the strategy of when you deploy items and how you deploy them. I would recommend continuing to drag them behind you anyway, just as a defensive measure. I would also say that when you're in the anti-gravity sections, bumping into other players gives you a little speed boost, but that doesn't really help you at all if you're on the outer stretch and you get bumped into the rough. So if you are on the inner stretch, feel free to bump into people all you want because they might get pushed out, and then you'll get the benefit and they won't. But if you're on the outer stretch, steer clear, don't try it.
Thank you so much, Steve. If you guys want to check out his review, it's on shacknews.com. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.